Picture this. It's Christmas morning. Your family gathers around a decorated evergreen tree in your living room. Lights twinkling, ornaments hanging, presents wrapped beneath it. Christmas carols play softly in the background. Silent night. Oh, come all you faithful. You're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, right? Wrong. What if I told you that almost nothing you're doing right now has anything to do with Jesus Christ? What if I told you the date is fabricated, the tree is condemned in the Bible, and the entire celebration is a rebranded Roman pagan festival? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never see Christmas the same way again. Let's start with what you think you know. December 25th. Jesus' birthday, right? Wrong. The Bible never mentions the date of Jesus' birth. Not once. In fact, the evidence in the Bible contradicts a December birth. We'll get to that. But here's what we do know. December 25th was already a major holiday in Rome 50 years before Christians started celebrating it. It was the birthday of the unconquered sun, the Roman sun god, Sol Invictus. Okay. What about the Christmas tree? Beautiful tradition, right? Families decorating together. Ornaments passed down through generations. Here's the problem. The Bible explicitly condemns it. Jeremiah 10, verses 3 and 4. Let me read it to you. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman, with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Sound familiar? Cut a tree from the forest, decorate it with silver and gold, fasten it so it doesn't move. That's literally describing your Christmas tree. And the Bible calls it vain, worthless, a pagan custom. What about gift giving? That comes from the Romans too. During a festival called Saturnalia, a week-long party in late December, where Romans exchanged small gifts called sigillaria. The feasting? Roman. The wreaths and holly? Celtic Druids. The Yule log? Norse pagans honoring Thor. Santa Claus? A blend of the Norse god Odin and Coca-Cola marketing. So let me ask you, what part of Christmas is actually Christian? Here's what happened. It's the 4th century. Rome. The year is around 336 CE. Christianity has just been legalized by Emperor Constantine. It's growing fast. But there's a problem. The Roman people, they love their pagan festivals. And the biggest, wildest celebration of the year happens in late December. Saturnalia, a week of feasting, drinking, gambling, chaos in the streets, role reversals where slaves are served by their masters. It's the highlight of the Roman calendar. Then, on December 25th, the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Massive public celebrations, circus games, sacrifices to the sun god. Now, imagine you're a church leader. You're trying to convert these Romans to Christianity. Do you tell them, stop celebrating? Your festivals are evil. December 25th is the devil's birthday? No, that would never work. So the church does something brilliant. They don't ban the pagan festivals. They rebrand them. Pope Julius III, sometime between 337 and 352 CE, officially declares December 25th is now Christmas, the birth of Jesus Christ. Never mind that no one knows when Jesus was actually born. Never mind that the Bible gives zero indication it was December. December 25th was already a holiday. The infrastructure was there. The celebration was there. The cultural momentum was there. The church just changed the name tag. It's like putting a Christian label on a pagan bottle. And it worked. The Roman people kept their winter festival. They kept feasting. They kept decorating. They kept exchanging gifts. But now they were told they were celebrating Jesus. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is an attack on my faith. It's not. You're trying to ruin Christmas. I'm not. What I'm doing is showing you the history, the actual documented evidence that historians, Christian and secular alike, agree on. Because here's the thing. The church knows this. Theologians know this. Biblical scholars know this. But it's rarely taught. It's rarely discussed openly. And I think you deserve to know the truth. So here's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you, step by step, where every single Christmas tradition actually comes from. The date, the tree, the gifts, Santa, all of it. I'm going to show you the historical documents, letters from popes, writings from early church fathers, where they admit this was a strategic decision. I'm going to show you that this pattern, adopting pagan practices and calling them Christian, isn't unique to Christmas. Every major religion does this. And by the end, you'll understand something profound about how religions actually spread and survive. This isn't about destroying Christmas. It's about understanding why Christmas exists the way it does. And honestly, once you see the full picture, it's kind of beautiful. Because Christmas isn't just a Christian holiday. It's humanity's answer to the darkest time of the year. It's cultures across centuries, pagan and Christian, layering tradition upon tradition, all trying to fill midwinter darkness with light, warmth, and connection. But first, we need to go back to ancient Rome. December, the wildest party of the ancient world. Let me show you where Christmas really began. Let me take you back, Rome. Late December. The year is 200 CE. The streets are packed, noise everywhere, laughter, music, shouting. Every home is decorated with wreaths of holly and ivy. Evergreen branches hang over doorways. Candles flicker in windows. People are exchanging gifts. Small figurines, wax candles, clay dolls called sigillaria. Children run through the streets clutching their presents. Gambling, normally illegal, is happening openly in the forum. Dice games, betting. No one cares. The laws are suspended. In wealthy homes, something even stranger is happening. The master of the house is serving his slaves. You heard that right? Role reversal. For this 1 week, the social order is turned upside down. Slaves recline at the table. Masters pour the wine. They elect a mock king, the Saturnalicious Princeps, the Lord of Misrule. He gives absurd commands, and everyone must obey. It's chaos. It's liberation. It's Saturnalia. This wasn't a fringe cult. This was the most important festival of the Roman calendar. It started on December 17th and lasted for 7 days, sometimes stretching into late December, officially honoring Saturn, the god of agriculture and liberation. But really, it was Rome letting off steam. The Roman writer Seneca described it this way: "It is now the month of December, when the greatest part of the city is in a bustle. The whole mob has let itself go in pleasures." The whole mob, not just a few people, everyone. Pliny the Younger, another Roman writer, would retreat to his private study during Saturnalia just to escape the noise. He wrote about hearing the sounds of celebration echoing through his villa while he tried to work. Think about that. The festival was so loud, so pervasive, that even the elites couldn't ignore it. Now ask yourself this: does any of this sound familiar? Decorating homes with evergreen branches? Check. Exchanging gifts? Check. Feasting and drinking? Check. A special greeting. Io Saturnalia, shouted in the streets. That's literally Merry Christmas. Saturnalia is Christmas. Or more accurately, Christmas is Saturnalia with a Christian name tag. But Saturnalia wasn't the only festival happening in late December. On December 25th, Rome celebrated something even bigger. Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun. December 25th, not Jesus, the sun god. Here's the history. In 274 CE, only about 60 years before Christianity was legalized, Emperor Aurelian established an official state cult dedicated to Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. Why? Because Rome was fracturing, multiple religions competing for dominance. Mystery cults from the East, especially Mithraism, were gaining followers. Sun worship was central to these movements. Aurelian saw an opportunity. He declared Sol Invictus the supreme deity of the Roman Empire. He built a massive temple in Rome. He instituted official festivals. And the most important day of the year? December 25th. Why that date? Because December 25th comes right after the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. In the ancient world, this was when the sun seemed to die and then be reborn. The days start getting longer again. Light is returning. It's a resurrection narrative. Sound familiar? On December 25th, Romans gathered at the temple of Sol Invictus. Public ceremonies, circus games in the Colosseum, massive celebrations throughout the city. The imagery was everywhere. The sun god with a radiant crown, rays of light bursting from his head, light conquering darkness, birth overcoming death. This wasn't some obscure pagan sect. This was official state religion, endorsed by the emperor, funded by the state, celebrated by millions across the empire. For 50 years, from 274 CE to the early 320s, December 25th belonged to the sun god. Then suddenly, in 336 CE, we see the first Christian mention of December 25th as Jesus' birthday. Coincidence? Not even close. Now you might be thinking, okay, Romans had winter festivals. So what? Here's why this matters. These weren't casual traditions. They were woven into the fabric of Roman life. Saturnalia had been celebrated for over 500 years by the time Christianity arrived. 5 centuries of tradition. Generations of families decorating their homes, exchanging gifts, feasting together. December 25th, the sun god's birthday, was the empire's official holiday. Celebrated from Britain to Egypt, these festivals served real purposes: social cohesion, community bonding, a release valve for social tension, marking the return of light. People loved them. Children grew up waiting for Saturnalia the way modern kids wait for Christmas. Families built memories around it. The entire rhythm of Roman life revolved around the festival calendar. So imagine you're a Christian leader in the 4th century. Christianity has just been legalized. You finally have a chance to convert the empire. But you're facing millions of Romans who've celebrated these festivals their entire lives. Their parents celebrated them. Their grandparents celebrated them. Do you tell them to stop? Do you say Saturnalia is evil? December 25th is the devil's birthday. Abandon your traditions? You'd lose them instantly. People don't abandon what they love. They don't erase centuries of tradition overnight. You can't ban something people love, but you can replace it. You take the existing holiday, the decorations, the gifts, the feasting, the date, and you give it a new meaning. Keep the celebration. Change the reason. That's exactly what the church did. And honestly, it was brilliant. So now you know where Christmas really comes from. Saturnalia gave us the gifts, the decorations, the feasting, the celebration. Sol Invictus gave us December 25th. But here's the question no one asks. When was Jesus actually born? Not December. We know that much. So what does the Bible actually say? What's the evidence? And more importantly, why did the church choose December 25th? Let me show you the documents, the letters, the admissions from church fathers themselves. Because this wasn't an accident, it was a calculated strategy. And once you see it, everything clicks into place. So we know December 25th belonged to the sun god. But here's the question every Christian should ask, when was Jesus actually born? Let's start with what the Bible actually says. Luke chapter 2, verse 8. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. Shepherds in the fields at night, watching their flocks. Now, if you know anything about the climate in Judea, you know what this means. December in Bethlehem is cold, rainy. Nighttime temperatures drop to around 40, sometimes 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The rainy season runs from November through March. Shepherds in ancient Judea did not keep their flocks in open fields during winter. They brought them into shelters by November. They wouldn't return to the fields until March during lambing season in the spring. Biblical scholar Ernest L. Martin put it plainly. Shepherds were only in the fields during the warmer months, especially during lambing season in spring. The Bible describes mild weather, shepherds comfortably outside at night. That is not December. Then there's the census. Luke mentions Caesar Augustus ordering a census, the reason Mary and Joseph traveled to Bethlehem. Roman censuses were strategic. They avoided winter. Travel through mountainous regions in December was dangerous, sometimes impossible. Logistically, a winter census makes no sense. So the Bible doesn't just fail to support a December birth, it contradicts it. But here's what's even more revealing. For the first 300 years of Christianity, there was no Christmas. None. Early Christians did not celebrate Jesus' birthday. They didn't mark December 25th. They didn't acknowledge the date at all. Why? Because birthday celebrations were considered pagan. Origen, one of the most important early church fathers, explicitly condemned birthday celebrations. He called them sinful, a custom of pagans and sinners, not Christians. Tertullian, another church father, listed birthday celebrations among the pagan practices Christians should avoid. For 3 centuries, Christians focused on Jesus' death and resurrection. Easter was central. The birth? Irrelevant. No one cared when Jesus was born. Think about that. For 300 years, the early church did not celebrate Christmas. It didn't exist. That is the historical reality. So when does December 25th first appear as Jesus' birthday? 336 CE. That's the first recorded mention. It appears in the Philocalian calendar, a Roman document listing important dates. December 25th. Christ born in Bethlehem of Judea. Let that sink in. Jesus died around 30 to 33 CE. December 25th appears as his birthday 300 years later. 3 centuries of silence. That's not an accident. By this time, Christianity has been legalized. The church is growing fast. Pope Julius I, between 337 and 352 CE, officially establishes December 25th as Christmas. But this was a strategic decision. A church father, writing in the 4th century, basically admits it. We hold this day holy, not like the pagans because of the birth of the sun, but because of him who made it. Read that again. Not like the pagans because of the birth of the sun? Translation? Yes, it's the same date as the Sun God Festival. But now it has a new meaning. They took the pagan holiday. Same date. Same celebration. Different deity. The church replaced Sol Invictus with the Son of God. Sun to sun. A symbolic substitution. And it worked. Romans kept celebrating December 25th. They kept decorating. They kept feasting. They kept their traditions. But now, they were told it was for Jesus. Now, you might be thinking, maybe Jesus really was born in December. Let's look at what scholars actually say. Bart Ehrman. We have no idea when Jesus was born, but almost certainly not December 25th. Raymond E. Brown. There is no historical evidence to support a December birth. Andrew McGowan. December 25th was chosen for symbolic, not historical reasons. This is not controversial. The vast majority of biblical scholars agree. December 25th is symbolic, not historical. The evidence points to spring or early summer, likely March through May, based on the shepherds, the census, astronomical analysis. December 25th, a strategic adoption of a pagan holiday. Nothing more. If this is blowing your mind right now, pause for a second. Breathe. We're just getting started, because next, we're going to talk about the Christmas tree, Santa Claus, gift giving, and where all of that actually comes from. And trust me, it's even more pagan than the date. So December 25th was a calculated choice, a rebranding. But what about everything else? The tree in your living room, the gifts under it, the wreaths on your door, Santa flying through the sky. Where do those come from? Turns out they're even more explicitly pagan. And some of them the Bible openly condemns. Let me show you. So December 25th is pagan. We've established that. But now, let's talk about what's actually inside your house during Christmas. Because every single tradition, every symbol you think is Christian, has pagan origins. And some of them, the Bible explicitly tells you not to do them. Let's start with the most obvious one, the Christmas tree. Right now, millions of Christian families have one in their living room, decorated with lights, ornaments, tinsel. It's the centerpiece of Christmas. Here's the problem. The Bible condemns it, not metaphorically, not vaguely, explicitly. Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 3 and 4. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman, with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Read that again. Cut a tree from the forest. Decorate it with silver and gold. Fasten it so it doesn't move. That is literally a Christmas tree. And the Bible calls it vain, worthless, a pagan custom. So where does it come from? Germanic tribes, pre-Christian pagans in Northern Europe. They worshipped evergreen trees during the winter solstice. The evergreen symbolized eternal life. It stayed green when everything else died. Sacred. This became part of Yule, the Norse winter festival. Families decorated sacred trees. Sometimes they even brought them indoors. Ironically, the tradition was popularized in Christian Europe by Martin Luther, 16th century Germany. He reportedly put candles on a tree to represent stars. Then, in the 1840s, Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's German husband, brought the tradition to England. It exploded. By the late 1800s, Christmas trees were everywhere in the Western world. One historian put it plainly: the Christmas tree has zero Christian origin. It is pure paganism. You are doing exactly what Jeremiah warned against. Now look under that tree. The gifts, also pagan. Remember Saturnalia, the Roman winter festival? Romans exchanged gifts during Saturnalia: small figurines, wax candles, clay dolls. They called them sigillaria. The church adopted this practice in the 4th century and tried to give it Christian meaning. They linked it to the 3 wise men. But notice something? The Bible never describes believers exchanging gifts with each other. The Magi brought gifts to Jesus, not to each other. It was a one-way offering. Early Christians focused on charity, giving to the poor, not presents to family and friends. Modern Christmas gift giving? That's Saturnalia, wrapped in Christian language. By the Victorian era, it became commercialized. Shopping frenzies, consumer rituals. You're celebrating Saturnalia, not the Nativity. Let's keep going. The wreath on your door. Where does that come from? Celtic Druids. They used circular wreaths during winter solstice rituals. The circle symbolized the sun, the cycle of life. They hung them on doors to ward off evil spirits. Holly, also Druid, sacred in pagan winter festivals. The red berries symbolize blood, sacrificial blood. The evergreen leaves symbolize life persisting through death. Mistletoe, even more pagan, one of the most sacred plants in Druid religion. They believed it had magical powers, life-giving powers, used in fertility rituals. The tradition of kissing under mistletoe, a pagan fertility rite. Early church leaders knew this. One church father openly condemned Christians for decorating their homes with evergreen branches. He called it pagan. The church ignored him. Every decoration in your house? Pagan roots. What about the Yule log? Norse paganism. During Yule, families burned a massive log for 12 days, a ritual to honor Thor, to celebrate the winter solstice. The ashes were kept for protection. A piece of the log was saved to light the next year's fire. When Christianity spread north, the ritual stayed. Only the explanation changed. Now it symbolized Christ's light. Same ritual, different story. Today, it survives in fireplaces. And the Yule log cake. You're honoring Thor? You just don't know it. Now let's talk about Santa Claus. Where does Santa come from? Odin, the Norse god Odin. During Yule, Odin was said to fly through the night sky on an 8-legged horse. He visited homes. Children left boots filled with hay. In return, Odin left gifts, flying through the sky, visiting homes at night, giving gifts to children. Sound familiar? When Christianity spread, this was merged with St. Nicholas. Then came Sinterklaas, then America, then the poem, The Night Before Christmas, the red suit, the reindeer, the chimney. Finally, Coca-Cola cemented the image, red and white. Marketing. Santa Claus is Odin with a Christian name, tag. You're teaching your children a pagan myth. So let's recap. The tree, pagan, condemned in the Bible. The gifts, Saturnalia. The wreaths and holly, Druid rituals. The Yule log, Norse fire worship. Santa Claus, Odin in disguise. Your living room at Christmas, it's a museum of paganism. Every symbol, every tradition, every decoration, none of it is Christian. So now ask the real question, why? Why did the church allow this? Why did it adopt pagan practices? Because the answer reveals how Christianity actually spread, not by rejecting pagan culture, but by absorbing it. Let me show you the strategy, the documents, the admissions, because this is where the story gets really interesting. So we've established that Christmas, the date, the traditions, the symbols, are all pagan. But here's the real question. Why? Why would the church, the institution claiming to represent God's truth, adopt pagan practices? Was it ignorance? An accident? A compromise? No, it was strategy. Brilliant, calculated, and we know this because they wrote it down. Let me show you. The year is 601 CE. Pope Gregory I, one of the most influential popes in history, writes a letter. It's addressed to Abbot Mellitus, a missionary being sent to convert the pagan tribes of Britain. This letter still exists. It's preserved in the writings of the Venerable Bede. Here's what Pope Gregory wrote. Listen carefully. The idol temples of that race should by no means be destroyed, but only the idols in them. Take holy water and sprinkle it in these shrines. Build altars and place relics in them. For if the shrines are well built, it is essential that they should be transferred from the worship of devils to the service of the true God. And since the people are accustomed to slaughter many oxen in sacrifice, they should receive some solemnity in exchange. Let them celebrate a religious feast and worship God by their feasting, so that still keeping outward pleasures, they may more readily receive spiritual joys. Read that again. Don't destroy the pagan temples. Keep them. Just change what's worshipped inside. The people are used to sacrifices? Let them keep doing it. Just say it's for God now. Keep the outward pleasures so they accept the spiritual message. This is not speculation. This is official church policy, written by a pope, sent as instructions to missionaries. Keep the pagan practices. Change the label. This strategy has a name: religious syncretism, the merging of belief systems, absorbing old traditions to make conversion easier. And it worked spectacularly. We see this everywhere. Pagan temples became Christian churches. The Pantheon in Rome, once a temple to all Roman gods, became a Christian church in 609 CE. It still is today. The Parthenon in Athens, a temple to Athena, became a church dedicated to Mary. Across Europe, village shrines stayed standing. Same buildings, new deity. Pagan festivals became Christian holidays. Saturnalia and Sol Invictus became Christmas. Lupercalia, a fertility festival, became Valentine's Day. Spring fertility rites became Easter. Samhain, the Celtic festival of the dead, became All Saints' Day and Halloween. Same dates, same rhythms, different meanings. Even pagan gods became Christian saints. Bridget, a powerful Celtic goddess, became Saint Bridget of Kildare. Same attributes, same sacred sites. New story. Local deities across Europe were absorbed into the church calendar as patron saints. One historian summed it up perfectly. Christianity succeeded not by being rigid, but by being flexible. It met people where they already were. Now you might think, maybe this was just local priests compromising. The real theologians wouldn't support this. Let's see what they actually said. Augustine of Hippo, one of the most important theologians in Christian history, argued for something he called spoiling the Egyptians. His idea? Take what is useful from pagan culture, Christianize it, use it for God's purposes, not reject paganism, absorb it. John Chrysostom, another major church father, was even more direct. He wrote about December 25th itself. He said, "The birthday of Christ was lately fixed at Rome. in order that, while the heathen were busy with their profane ceremonies, the Christians might perform their sacred rites undisturbed. Read that slowly. They placed Christmas on December 25th so Christians could celebrate at the same time as pagans, without conflict. It's an admission, clear, direct. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't ignorance. This was the plan. And here's why it mattered. In 313 CE, Christianity was legalized. At that time, the Roman Empire had tens of millions of people. The vast majority were pagan. Christianity was a minority religion trying to survive. If the church had said, destroy your temples, abandon your festivals, forget your traditions, it would have failed. People don't abandon culture overnight. They don't erase centuries of identity because someone tells them to. So, the church adapted, and it worked. By 380 CE, Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. In less than a century, an entire empire changed faith. How? By making Christianity familiar. By letting people keep what they loved, change the meaning, keep the form. Say what you want about theology. From a historical perspective, this strategy was brilliant. So now, ask yourself the next question. Is this unique to Christianity? No. Every religion does this. Islam absorbed the Kaaba, a pagan shrine. Buddhism absorbed local traditions wherever it spread. Judaism borrowed from earlier cultures. The pattern repeats across centuries, across civilizations. It's not about deception. It's about how religions survive, how they spread, how humans work. And once you see the pattern, everything clicks into place. Let me show you the examples, because this is where the story gets really interesting. So Christianity absorbed paganism to spread. We've proven that. But here's what's fascinating. Christianity isn't unique. Every major religion does the exact same thing. Let me show you. Let's start with Islam. The holiest site in Islam is the Kaaba in Mecca. Muslims face it 5 times a day during prayer. During Hajj, they circle it 7 times. Sacred, central, the heart of Islam. But here's what most people don't know. The Kaaba was a pagan shrine long before Islam. For centuries before Muhammad, the Kaaba housed hundreds of tribal idols. Each Arabian tribe had its own god there. It was the center of Arabian polytheism. When Muhammad established Islam, he didn't destroy the Kaaba. He purified it. He removed the idols and declared it the house of one God. But notice this. The structure stayed. The rituals stayed. The black stone, the meteorite embedded in the Kaaba, was venerated by pagans long before Islam. The tawaf, circling the Kaaba 7 times, was a pre-Islamic ritual, running between Safa and Marwa during Hajj, also pre-Islamic. Animal sacrifice during Eid al-Adha, continuation of Arabian sacrificial tradition. Even the timing of Ramadan follows pre-Islamic lunar calendar customs. Early Islam didn't erase Arabian religion, it reinterpreted it. Same place, same practices, new meaning. Sound familiar? Islam didn't destroy pagan Arabia, it absorbed it, just like Christianity absorbed Rome. Now, let's look at Buddhism. Buddhism began in India, but as it spread across Asia, it changed dramatically. Tibet. Before Buddhism, Tibet followed the Bon religion, shamanism, spirit worship, rituals. When Buddhism arrived, Bon didn't disappear. It was absorbed. Prayer flags, Bon tradition, sky burials, Bon practice. Many Tibetan Buddhist deities, originally Bon spirits, reframed, renamed, integrated. China, and Japan. Buddhism encountered ancestor worship, not Buddhist originally, but Buddhism adapted. Today, ancestor veneration is part of Buddhist practice across East Asia, Thailand, and Myanmar. Local spirit worship existed long before Buddhism. Those spirits weren't rejected. They became guardians of Buddhism. Same spirits, new role, same pattern, different religion. Now here's one that surprises people. Judaism, the religion of strict monotheism, one God, no compromises, but even Judaism borrowed. Ancient Israelites lived among the Canaanites, polytheistic neighbors with established religious systems. The sacrificial system in the Jewish temple? Altars, animal sacrifices, priestly rituals, very similar to Canaanite religion. Scholars argue that Yahweh emerged from the Canaanite pantheon. Early Israelite religion didn't appear in a vacuum. It evolved. Passover, celebrated in spring, same time as ancient fertility, festivals, not a coincidence. Hanukkah, not found in the Torah. It appears after Greek cultural influence, an 8-day celebration mirroring earlier festival patterns. Even the Sabbath has parallels with Babylonian lunar traditions. Even Judaism adapted. Even monotheism borrowed. So what's happening here? Christianity absorbs Roman festivals. Islam absorbs Arabian practices. Buddhism absorbs local spirits. Judaism borrows from its neighbors. This isn't coincidence. It's a universal pattern. Here's the truth. Humans resist total cultural erasure. You can't tell people, forget everything you know. Abandon your traditions. Start from zero. It doesn't work. But you can say, keep what you love. Understand it differently. Same festival, new meaning. Same building, new deity. Same ritual, new explanation. This isn't deception. It's cultural evolution, not revolution. Evolution. Religions that adapt survive. Religions that refuse to adapt disappear. That's why billions follow Christianity. Billions follow Islam. Hundreds of millions follow Buddhism. They adapted. So now you know the pattern. Every major religion does this. The question isn't whether they do it. The question is, what does that mean? Does it make faith fake? Or does it reveal something deeper? Maybe it shows something beautiful. Humanity's ability to take old traditions and fill them with new meaning. To build on the past instead of erasing it. Christmas isn't a lie. It's a collaboration. Centuries of humans, pagan and religious, layering meaning onto darkness, adding light, connection, hope. Let me show you why that isn't a problem, but a miracle. So we've established the pattern. Every religion adapts to survive. But here's the question. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. In fact, adaptation isn't weakness. It's brilliance. Here's a historical reality. Rigid religions die. Zoroastrianism, once the official religion of the Persian Empire, one of the most powerful faiths in the ancient world. Today, fewer than 200,000 followers, nearly extinct. Why? Because when Islam arrived, Zoroastrianism refused to adapt. It stayed rigid, exclusive, unwilling to absorb local culture, and it faded. Manichaeism, a religion that once stretched from Rome to China, millions of followers in the 3rd century. Today, completely gone, not a single living community. Ancient Egyptian religion, thousands of years of tradition, pyramids, temples, complex theology. Today, gone entirely. Now compare that to the religions that adapted. Christianity, over 2 billion followers. Islam, nearly 2 billion. Buddhism, hundreds of millions. The difference? Flexibility. Religions that bend survive. Religions that refuse to bend disappear. Think of religions like living organisms. Adapt or go extinct. The ones that last aren't the most rigid. They're the ones that evolve. That's not weakness, that's survival. So let's come back to Christmas. You might ask, if Christmas is built on pagan foundations, does that make it fake? No, not at all. Christmas is a layered cultural creation, and honestly, is one of humanity's most beautiful ones. Think about what Christmas has become. Charity. In the 1800s, stories like A Christmas Carol reshaped the holiday. Suddenly, generosity mattered. Helping the poor mattered. Even today, more charitable giving happens in December than any other time of year. Family. Families gather. They decorate together. They eat together. They remember. People travel across countries just to be together for a few days. That matters. Art and music. Some of the greatest music ever written exists because of Christmas. Handel's Messiah, Bach's Christmas Works, Silent Night. Songs sung in hundreds of languages, paintings, stories, traditions, all inspired by this season, communal joy. Across the world, strangers smile at each other. Cities light up. There's a shared moment. Even people who don't believe still feel it. Connection, warmth, togetherness. Is Christmas historically accurate? No. Is it meaningful? Absolutely. Here's the key insight. The truth of Christmas isn't historical. It's human. There's a difference between historical truth and pragmatic truth. Historical truth says, December 25th isn't Jesus' birthday. The tree is pagan. The symbols come from many cultures. That's real. Pragmatic truth says, Christmas creates meaning. It creates connection. It changes how people treat each other. That's also real. Which one matters more? For historians? Facts. For people living real lives? Meaning. When you decorate a tree, you're not thinking about ancient pagans. You're thinking about your children, your parents, memories, laughter. That feeling? That's real. Even if the roots are ancient. Christmas is humanity collaborating across centuries. Pagans gave us the instinct to fight winter darkness with light. Christians gave it spiritual meaning. Victorians added charity and family. Modern culture spread it worldwide. Every generation added something. That's not a lie. That's culture. So here's where we end up. Christmas is pagan in origin, and it's beautiful in practice. Both things can be true. The real question isn't, can you still celebrate Christmas? The real question is, can you hold two truths at once? History and meaning. Facts and faith. Because understanding Christmas deeply doesn't destroy it. It enriches it. It makes it more human, more honest, more powerful. And once you see the full picture, Christmas doesn't lose meaning. It gains it. So here we are. You now know the truth, the historical truth. Christmas is pagan. The date, the tree, the gifts, the symbols, all of it. But you also know something else. It's meaningful, beautiful, real in the lives of billions. Two truths, both valid. So what do you do now? Let me offer you 3 paths. The first path, you celebrate Christmas culturally, not religiously. You treat it as a human tradition, a time for family, for generosity, for joy. You focus on universal values, connection, giving, light and darkness. No cognitive dissonance, no theological conflict, just a shared human celebration. The second path, an informed Christian celebration. You acknowledge the pagan origins. You understand the history, but you still find Christian meaning in it. The church baptized paganism. You can too. You focus on what Christmas represents for you. Love, mercy, justice, hope, not the literal date, not historical accuracy. Meaning, you're not ignorant. You're choosing symbolism over literalism. Many Christians take this path, and it's intellectually honest. The third path, principled rejection. Some Christians reject Christmas entirely because of its pagan roots. Historically, the Puritans did this. Jehovah's Witnesses still do. They focus on Easter, or they practice faith without calendar-based holidays. It's rare, but it's consistent. And here's the important part. All three paths are valid. You get to choose, and you're not alone. Many scholars, people who know this history deeply, hold both truths comfortably. They know the origins, and they still find meaning. Bart Ehrman, a leading biblical scholar. He knows December 25th is fabricated. He knows Christmas is syncretic, and he still celebrates Christmas with his family, not as doctrine, as joy. He once said he doesn't need to believe the story literally to enjoy time with people he loves. Raymond E. Brown, a Catholic priest, one of the most respected scholars of the birth narratives. He knew they were theological stories, not historical records, and he still celebrated Christmas meaningfully. Because, in his words, the truth of the story is deeper than facts. Marcus Borg, a Christian theologian, he talked about parabolic truth, stories that communicate meaning, not history. He celebrated Christmas as a sacred metaphor. Here's the insight. You can know the history and still find meaning. They're not opposites. In fact, knowing the origins often makes Christmas richer, not poorer. When you understand the history, the tree stops being just decoration. It becomes humanity's ancient connection to nature. Evergreen, life-surviving winter. That symbol is thousands of years old, and it's powerful. The gifts stop being just consumerism. They become echoes of community, of generosity, of bringing people together. The lights in the darkness, that's universal. Every culture, every era, humans filling the darkest time of the year with warmth and hope. Christmas isn't just Christian, it's human. 2,000 years of people, pagan and religious, layering meaning onto winter, each generation adding something, building on what came before. That's not fake, that's culture. So let me leave you with this. The miracle of Christmas isn't that a virgin gave birth on December 25th. That didn't happen. The real miracle is this. Humans took the darkest, coldest time of the year and filled it with light, with generosity, with connection. Pagans began it. Christians reshaped it. Victorians transformed it. And every generation since has added their own layer. That's the miracle. Not divine intervention. Human creativity. The ability to create meaning. To build traditions that last centuries. To turn darkness into celebration. Whether you believe or doubt, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, you can appreciate that. Because that impulse to gather, to give, to light candles against the dark, that's what makes us human. So that's the truth about Christmas. I know this isn't easy for everyone to hear, but I think you deserve to know the real story. Take a moment, reflect, talk about it. And whatever path you choose, may your winter be filled with light.